In an age of emperors and legions, under the watchful eye of Rome, a story began that would reshape the world. In the small town of Bethlehem, a child was born, Jesus of Nazareth. His arrival was quiet, almost unnoticed by the powers that be, yet it marked the dawn of a new era. This is the story of his life, a journey from a humble carpenter's son to a figure who would inspire billions. We'll explore the historical backdrop of Judea, a land simmering with political tension and fervent spiritual hope, setting the stage for one of history's most influential figures. Around the age of 30, Jesus emerged from obscurity. His public ministry began not with a declaration of power, but with a symbolic act of humility, his baptism in the Jordan River. From there, he walked the dusty roads of Galilee, his message beginning to ripple through the towns and villages. He gathered around him a small, dedicated group of followers, fishermen, tax collectors, and ordinary men who would become his 12 apostles. They left everything behind to follow this charismatic teacher, drawn by a message that was unlike anything they had ever heard. Jesus' teachings were revolutionary. Standing on a mountainside, he delivered what would become known as the Sermon on the Mount. He spoke not of conquest or wealth, but of blessedness for the poor in spirit, the meek, and the merciful. He didn't just lecture, he told stories, parables that made profound spiritual truths accessible to everyone. The parable of the Good Samaritan, the prodigal son, the sower. These were tales of compassion, forgiveness, and radical love that challenged the social norms of his day. His words offered hope to the marginalized and a new vision for humanity. But Jesus was more than just a preacher. Wherever he went, stories of incredible healings followed. The blind were said to see, the lame to walk, and those suffering from debilitating diseases were made whole. These acts weren't just displays of power, they were tangible expressions of the compassion he preached. Each healing was a sign of a deeper restoration. He offered a restoration of body, mind, and spirit. His fame spread like wildfire, drawing massive crowds who were desperate to hear his words and witness these incredible events for themselves. As his influence grew, so did the opposition. His message challenged the established religious authorities, and his claim to a unique relationship with God was seen as blasphemous by some. Yet, he pressed on towards Jerusalem, the heart of Jewish life and the center of Roman power in the region. His arrival was dramatic. He rode into the city not on a war horse like a conquering king, but on a humble donkey, as crowds hailed him, waving palm branches and shouting, "Hosanna." This triumphal entry was a bold, public declaration, setting the stage for a final, dramatic confrontation. The tension in Jerusalem was palpable. During the Passover festival, Jesus gathered his closest disciples for a final meal. This Last Supper was heavy with meaning. He broke bread and shared wine, speaking of a new covenant sealed in his own body and blood, a ritual that would become central to Christian worship. But the fellowship was shattered by betrayal. One of his own, Judas Iscariot, led the temple guards to him in the Garden of Gethsemane. After a moment of profound personal struggle, Jesus was arrested, and his disciples scattered in fear. What followed was a swift and brutal series of trials, dragged before the religious council and then the Roman governor. Pontius Pilate. Jesus faced accusations of sedition and blasphemy. Pilate, caught between the pressure of the crowds and his own uncertainty, ultimately condemned him to the most agonizing of Roman punishments: crucifixion. Nailed to a cross between two criminals, he endured hours of suffering. To his followers, it seemed like the end. The man they believed to be the Messiah was dead, and their hopes were buried with him in a borrowed tomb. But the story didn't end there. 3 days later, something astonishing happened. The women who went to anoint his body found the tomb empty. Soon after, reports began to circulate, first whispered in disbelief, then proclaimed with joyous certainty. His followers claimed to have seen him, spoken with him, even eaten with him. They were convinced that Jesus had risen from the dead. This conviction transformed them from a terrified, scattered group into a bold, unstoppable movement. The resurrection became the cornerstone of their faith, the ultimate proof of his divine identity and the victory of life over death. The impact of these events was immediate and profound. Empowered by their belief in the resurrected Christ, the apostles began to spread his teachings with unwavering courage. From Jerusalem, the message traveled throughout the Roman Empire and beyond. What started as a small Jewish sect grew into a global faith, Christianity. The life of Jesus of Nazareth, a carpenter from a remote province, fundamentally altered the course of human history, shaping art, law, philosophy, and the very calendar we use today. His teachings on love, forgiveness, and hope continue to resonate across cultures and millennia, inspiring countless individuals to live with greater compassion and purpose. The life of Jesus is a story of contrasts. A king born in a manger, power demonstrated through service, and ultimate victory achieved through sacrifice. It's a narrative that has been debated, analyzed, and cherished for 2,000 years, yet it remains as compelling as ever. It challenges us to look beyond the surface, to find strength in humility, and to believe in the power of hope even in the darkest of times. His legacy is not just in the religion that bears his name, but in the enduring call to love our neighbors and build a better world. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey through one of history's most remarkable lives. If you found this documentary insightful, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to our channel for more content that explores the people and events that have shaped our world. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, stay curious.